And we're going to go ahead and do our Algebra 1 course for the day. So a few class rules: make sure to be respectful of others, only use the annotation and chat past. If you have a question, raise your hand and then do your best. A few tips: make sure you have a notebook or paper and pencil ready for notes. But in class where you have a notebook, where you're taking notes, if possible, try to find some quiet space. I know during these times that can be very difficult, but just do your best. Make sure to ask questions if you have any questions, and then attend the office hours. So if we don't get a chance to address your questions during our lesson, you can always go to office hours, and I am more than willing to try to help the best I can. So a quick stress check: if you are watching this in the comments on Schoology, make sure to write, how are you feeling? Are you at a 0 where you're in a good space and you can focus? Are you somewhere in the middle where something's bothering you but you still can focus? Or are you at a 10 where maybe things are really difficult right now and then you're having trouble managing your emotions or behaviors? So the objectives for today, Tuesday, April 14th, 2020, are that you will review finding the slope from a graph. I know we worked on that from last session. We're just doing a review today. And then identify the Y-intercept. Let's look at the do now for today. So enter the value for x. So on Schoology, your problems will look like this. So I wanted to kind of show you how you would respond. So where it says enter the value for x, we know 3x is equal to 21. So hopefully you remember from class, this means multiplication, because there's when a number and a variable are together, it's multiplication, and we want x by itself. It says enter the value for x. So what's the opposite of multiplying? What you divide. Whatever you do to one side, you have to do to the other side. X is equal to 7. Okay. Now on this, what you would go ahead and write, because it says enter the value, you only really need to put the number 7, and that would come in here. If you do put x equals 7, I'm still marking that as correct, but you don't have to put the x is equal to, again, because it does say enter the value. Now, let's look at the slope of this line. So if we look at the slope of this line, let's remember that. Slope, first step is this a positive, a negative, a 0, or an undefined slope? Because it's going from left to right and it's going downhill, so we're pretending that snowboarder is going downhill, it is a negative. Right away, I put my negative sign because I know it's a negative slope. Now, next we do rise over run. Okay, so I'm going to write my negative here because I know that's there, and then I'm going to put my line right there just to separate the rise and run. So rise means how much does it go up or down, and then runs means how much it goes either left or right. Now, if we look at these 2 points, how many spaces does it go down? It goes down 1, 2, 3. So I'm going to put the number 3. You already have my negative, so there's no need to put another negative. And then run. How many spaces does it go left or right? That's 1, 2, 3, 4. So I noticed a few of you did this correctly when it came to identifying the rise over run, but you did forget that negative. So remember, if it's a negative slope, you need that negative symbol. So for this problem, it would be the one that says negative 3/4. Now, when you go back and do this do now, don't automatically click on the last option, because anytime you retake the test, the answers will move around. So make sure you look for the one that says negative 3/4. And don't forget, do nows you can retake as many times as you need to get the score that you want. And I think it actually started limiting me to only letting you guys retake 20 times, but hopefully that's more than enough for you to get the score that you would like. So let's practice finding the slope from a graph. This is a good place for you to pause this video and then give it a try on your own. If you chose not to pause it, or if you did pause it and now you're back, I'm going to go ahead and review these problems. So finding a slope from a graph. So again, I check, is this a positive, a negative, an undefined, or a 0 slope? Because again, my little snowboarder would be going down the hill. I know that it is a negative slope. And then my rise or run, how many spaces does it go down or up? 1, sorry, that was messy, 2 or 3. So that's going to be a 3. How many does it go left or right? And that's 2. For my second problem, again, is it a positive, negative, undefined, or zero slope? Because my little snowboarder would be going downhill, I know that it is a negative. And then how many spaces does it go up or down? That's 4. And then how many to the left or right? That's 6. If you know how to simplify, then you would go ahead and simplify this problem. What number goes into both 4 and 6? That would be 2. Negative 2 over 3. And notice if I do goes down 2 and to the right 3, notice that it hits a perfect spot. Again, I'm going to give you a chance to pause this video and practice with this problem if you didn't get a chance to do so already. If you're now back from practicing the problem, let's go ahead and look at this. Now, my snowboarder now would be going up the hill. So I know that it is a positive slope. If it's positive, I don't have to put the plus sign, but it wouldn't be wrong if you did. So how many does it go up or down? How many units? That's 3. How many units does it go left or right? That's 1. I also know that 3 divided by 1 is 3, so I might just put the slope as 3. Now for number 4, what kind of slope is that? Well, I know that that type of slope is a negative because he's going down the hill. How many spaces is he going up or down, left or right? So he goes up and down 4 spaces, or 4 units, sorry. And then how many does he go left or right here? That's 2. Again, if you know how to simplify, go ahead and divide each one by 2. If not, you can leave that as your answer for now. It's a negative slope. 4 divided by 2 is 2. 2 divided by 2 is 1. I also know that 2 divided by 1 is, or negative 2 divided by 1 is negative 2. That can also be your answer. So you have 3 options for answers for that question. For this one, I'm not going to go into too much detail. Instead, I'll just go ahead and solve it again. Another opportunity for you to pause this video. Now this is a little bit different because notice it doesn't give me some points. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to find some points. How do I find some points? Well, the easiest ones to identify are the ones that are right at these spots, at these little corners. So for this problem, this one is at right in between 4 corners. And then if I go down my line to find the next one, this one's also at those 4 corners. So then I can solve it like usual. Same thing with this problem. I'm going to find the ones wherever there's corners. Oh, there's some there. Oh, and then this one has quite a few, right? So I would just go ahead and choose 2 of those points. Probably the 2 that are close to each other. So I'm going to actually go ahead and choose this one right here. So I know that because my snowboard is going up the hill, that's going to be positive. So I'm not going to put anything. It goes up and down once. Up or down once, left or right twice. That's my solution. All right, so today the focus of the lesson, now that we get a chance to review again, don't forget, if you need additional help with finding slope, make sure to come to office hours where I can give you a bit more help on that. And now our new lesson is to find the y-intercept. So the y-intercept is where the line crosses the y-axis. Remember, the y-axis is that line on a graph that goes up and down. If our graph looks like this, what I'm drawing at the moment, this is my x, axis. So the y-intercept, if a line goes, let's say this way, the y-intercept is where the line crosses the y-axis. So this is my y-axis. Where does that line I just drew cross it? It crosses it right here. That is my y-intercept. It is also written as b is equal to, and then your value. Now going back to slope, I know I kind of skipped that part, but whenever we find slope, we have to write it as m is equal to, and then your answer. This means slope. So instead of writing slope is equal to, you just write m is equal to. For y-intercept, instead of writing y-intercept is equal to, we just write it as b is equal to. Okay? Again, if you look at this line, where does it cross the y-axis? This is my x-axis, and this is my y-axis. Where does this line cross that? It crosses it at. So that is my y-intercept. My y-intercept is 2. So instead of writing y-intercept is equal to 2, I would just put b is equal to 2. Let's go ahead and practice that together. So again, as a reminder, the y-intercept is wherever the line, so the blue line in this case, crosses the y-axis, meaning our vertical line. So let's look at where this line crosses my y-axis. So where does it cross the y-axis? Right here. So my b is equal to, and on this y-axis, what number would that be? That is always my 0. Let's look at number 2. Where does this line cross the y-axis? Right here. That's where it crosses. B is equal to, now let's look at y. If this is 0, remember this is positive 1, positive 2, positive 3, positive 4. And then if you go down this way, negative 1, negative 2, negative 3, negative 4, etc. So this one would be b is equal to negative 1. Where does this line cross the y-axis? So my b is equal to, and then let's look at, well, that was 1, 2, 3, and this is 4. So it's not on 3, and it's not on 4. It's somewhere in between. So that's b is equal to 3.5 or 3.5. And then our last one on this page, again, where does my line cross the y-axis? And again, I write y-intercept as b is equal to, this is my y-intercept. If this is 0 and I'm going down, negative 1, negative 2, negative 3. So b is equal to negative 3. This is a good place for you to stop the video, practice by yourself, to number 5, 6, 7, and 8. And then once you come back, I'll go ahead and go over these problems. So hopefully you paused this video and you gave these problems a try. If you didn't, then I'm going to go over them anyways. Let's look at question number 5. And where does this line cross the y-axis? Again, I always put my answer as b. That means y-intercept is equal to, and then I go from 0, 1, 2, 3. b is equal to 3. Number 6, again, I just write b is equal to already just to get it ready. Where does this line cross the y-intercept? Only the y, not where it crosses x. Just my y. So looking at it from here, if that's 0, this is 1, this is 2. b is equal to 2. Again, where does it cross it? Right away, I look at this line and I see it crosses it here. Now that one's between 0 and 1, so that's 0.5. But notice it's going down, so it's a negative 0.5. And then our last one is, where does it cross the y-axis? It crosses it here. Because it is under, it's below the 0 mark, I know it's going to be a negative value. Negative 1, negative 2, negative 3, negative 4. Again, it's between negative 3 and negative 4, so I know that's negative 3.5 or negative 3.5. All right, so hopefully this all made sense. If not, again, come by to office hours if you have any questions Wednesdays and Fridays from 2 to 3 p.m. Next steps are after class today. Make sure to complete the do now if you haven't completed the do now yet for this class. Make sure to complete the well, that has to do with this lesson. And by next class on Thursday, and I hope to see you all there, make sure to complete the do now for that class. Okay, so again, if you have any questions, make sure to message me on Schoology, comment on the comments, but mainly make sure to come to office hours and ask any questions so I can provide you with additional help. All right, I hope you have a great day.